What up everyone, it's your man XMan87 here, bringing you another top 10 video, and what I have for you today is my top 10 favorite comic Marvel Legends figures of 2024. This is my list of lists for Legends to rank, as the comic book based figures are my favorite from Legends. For my new viewers and subscribers, just to let you know how I do this, I go off my personal attachments and fun factor of the figures that I acquired within the year. I try to go off new scopes mainly and not repaints unless they have a significant amount of partial retooling or are heavily layered with add-ons. I'll factor in sculpting, articulation, accessories, etc. to consider one over the other, but ultimately, I'll choose my personal favorites. Don't take it personal if I don't have one of your favorites or I have one over the other. Remember, I'm not doing your list, I'm doing mine, so your list is your list and my list is my list. There's no wrong way in doing this. Before we get into everything, if you could please leave a thumbs up, like, rating on the video, it'll help show your support for my channel, and I greatly appreciate it. Now for honorable mentions, oh man, there were just so many I wanted to put on my list, but couldn't. And I just wanted to give them a quick roll call for honorable mentions here. So I have Secret Wars Spider-Man, Venom, Sabretooth. Venom and Sabretooth could have made it on the list, but the reason why they didn't is because once they released Venom with the upgraded torso, I'm like, oh man, they could have given the same thing to Sabretooth. So another thing was that Venom didn't have the neck articulation to have him look all the way up. That frustrated the hell out of me. And they didn't make it completely pinless either. So again, I love the figures, but they only partially upgraded these figures. They did not fully upgrade them. Who else? Heroes for Hire would have made it on the list if I got a more classic Iron Fist look, not this modern one, which still looks cool and close to it, but I'm going for more classic looks in my collection, and also I need new unique Iron Fist effects. Tired of these old ones. Got Wong, Crystar, Shield Agents, Pentagon Armor Iron Man, and Tombstone, who was very underrated this year. This is the introductory of the new bodyguard suited Bucks. I also got to give honorable mentions to ones that I couldn't fit into this picture, like Angel, Power Princess, Warbird, Magik, Titania. Man, I could just go on and on. But to move on, I always give two top honors in my comics list, so let's start the pre-countdown with one. First top honors goes to the Void. I don't know what it is, but I love figures that look awesomely gruesome, like this damn cosmic crustacean. The clever reuse of the movie Venom limbs with this new torso that supports these crazy crab legs, all done in this almost illuminated translucent plastic, is giving this figure that cosmic aura you'd get from the comics. It's visually insane and stimulating to the eye. I do wish the legs were articulated, but even though they are not, they still look absolutely incredible. It does make him top heavy as they carry some weight to it, but worth the visual. The new torso with the swivel rocker was a good choice for better movement because of those crab legs. He does have fists and open hands for accessories. The head sculpt is terrifyingly beautiful, and pairing him up behind Sentry with the Void transitioning head makes for one of the best displays, and this is exactly how I have these two together on my cosmic shelf. This was my second favorite BAF of the year and deserves to be on any list. I will name my next top honor at the halfway mark, so now with that said, let's get ready to count down! We're gonna kick things off in a big way. At the number 10 spot, we have the Hulkbuster. Even though I wanted the classic 90s version more with those big Roomba shoulders, this thing just absolutely blew me away. The gold is nice for the most part. The molded red plastic they used was a good choice, and it works for this because it's more comic accurate to Audi Granov's dark color palette, as it had that very dull looking red and not a metallic red like the one you saw in Marvel Selects. Accuracy always wins. It is huge, heavy, and massive, standing over 9 inches tall, and surprisingly, it's very maneuverable for his size. The accessories are decent with interchangeable hands and a Tony Stark head. The all-around heavy-duty sculpting is incredibly fantastic. One of their best big figures they've ever produced. At number 9, I have Astonishing X-Men Wolverine. This is the one Wolverine suit I wanted updated the most to my favorite X-Men hero ever. They nailed this all the way. I know the look comes from one of the comic covers with the yellow rectangular paddings on the boots and gloves, but that's fine with me as I prefer that look actually. The cowl is superb. The X-Men yellows and blues are perfect on him, from the stature, the hairy arms, the artistic Cassidy head sculpt, may he rest in peace. All of it feels pulled out of the pages. Great accessories for display and play besides the alt head by switching up the hands with new gestures and not the same old claws and fists we see over and over again. For articulation, all he needed was a boot swivel, but finally they gave Wolverine what I wanted most for him, and that's the upgraded torso with the double diaphragm joint. Makes a world's difference when posing Wolverine. This Wolverine figure is indeed the best at what he does. At number 8, I have the War Journal Punisher. I was gonna wait until they made the classic white and black out of this to put him on a top 10 list, but I just couldn't help it. Something about the all solid black that just gets me and makes him look even more badass. This War Journal Punisher is the official introductory to the new medium-sized buck in the line with the upgraded torso and new legs. No, they are not the same legs as the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents or Vulcan like some of you think. I inspected the hell out of this figure, trust me. It looks proportionally solid all around. Imagine this on a new Black Bolt or even a classic Cyclops. This should have been on Fabian Cortez, but it is what it is. The logo is great with some specs on it that makes it look like he's gotten into a few dirty scuffles, and the accessories are the best Hasbro has put on any Punisher figure. Lots of weapons. The grenade explosion with the shrapnel flying out is the kind of effects I go for. He felt like his own deluxe in the 2-pack. When they slap the new S.H.I.E.L.D. agent boots and gloves on this, it's gonna go the hardest, and I can't wait for that next. Number 7, Danny Ketch Ghost Rider. I've waited about 20 long years for an updated Danny Ketch Ghost Rider, and I'm finally happy we got this one in a big way this year. I'm extremely happy they packed him in with his Hell Cycle. The Hell Cycle isn't fully perfect, but close enough. My biggest issue with the figure was his scale. He's too short. He's supposed to be the same height as Johnny Blaze. He's 6'2", same height as Cap, which those two figures are the same height. Dwight gave a reason as to why this Ghost Rider was smaller, as he said he fixed the proportions at the lower legs as they were too long. And I found a lot of you were gullible in believing Dwight when he said he fixed it, but he didn't adjust the height for everything else to scale properly. If that was the case, then why is he still shorter than Cap? Because nothing is wrong with Cap's legs. Cap is the correct size for 6'2". Just admit Dwight messed up. It's okay to hold him accountable. We all make mistakes. We aren't perfect. Live and learn. Besides the scale, the figure has a great body sculpt with texturized details through and through. He just needed that more Danny Ketch skull that has the flames flaring out a lot wider. So an all new head sculpt would have helped with that. Articulation surprised me here with drop down hips. The flame effects are the best here with being able to have him displayed blazing through the streets or popping a wheelie. This is the centerpiece of my Marvel Knights shelf. At number 6, I have the Zabu Build-A-Figure. I knew from the moment this figure was revealed, it was going to be one of my favorites, and it lived up to my expectations in hand. I'm a sucker for great animal figures, and I can get him into so many animalistic poses, so he's just a ton of fun to play around with. They really focused on articulation with Zabu so he can feel as agile as he looks in the comics. The sculpted details on him, from his paws to his protruding canines, all the way to every hairline on his fur. He is absolutely incredible, and having Kazar alongside him makes him so much better, and vice versa. Can't wait to add Shauna the She-Devil to the mix and more Savage Land love, which they did tease. That motivated me to start a Savage Land shelf, and I can't wait for more. So bring on the Savage Land mutates. Zabu was one of the most enjoyable reviews and photography I've ever done. Bath of the year for me. Now that we are at the halfway mark, my number 1 honorable mention that takes top honors above all goes to Death's Head. Death's Head is well put together with lots of layers, new parts, and retooling on the classic Colossus body. I feel like this is what San Diego Comic-Con post-con exclusives should be. Those vibrant, colorful, obscure characters that you won't normally see or think of. He has lots of great and fun accessories with multiple hands and weapons that are all interchangeable. All he needed was metallic silver paint because 1, he would have been perfect, and 2, he would have made my top 10 if so. The dull ass silver plastic just doesn't do to really bring out that cyborg looking metal. And what a fantastic menacing head sculpt he has. He's just fan-damn-tastic. He's only $30 on Amazon too, so for a figure this size, that's a great deal, and I highly recommend you check him out. I just love this damn thing. It's top 5 time, and kicking off my top 5 is She-Hulk. So I praised this figure enough in my top 10 female Marvel Legends of 2024. So I don't want to repeat myself, but I don't really have to, since you guys know how amazing this figure looks, as it speaks for itself. I don't know what else to say, but to say she's the best muscular female body they've ever made. The classic look and colors was a necessity for the line. The John Byrne head is comic book perfection. Can't beat it. One thing I forgot to mention is how much I love that they added the green highlights on her hair, because it just really brings out her hair and all of her vanity overall. The mangled rifle was straight out of the books. Everything pretty much about this was straight out of the books. Now Hasbro, can I get this She-Hulk in her Fantastic Four costume to match the blue and white team, please? Give us some new head sculpts with the same color skin tone so we can swap heads around with this one, and I'll be the happiest Fantastic Four fan ever. So She-Hulk here is just top of the line stuff. At number 4, I have the Scarlet Spider, and I know I've said this or that was pulled out of the comic pages a lot already on this list, but if you want to talk about the best looking figure pulled out of the pages, translated onto figure form, then look no further. At least when it comes to Spider-Man figures, it's perfect for me. This has to be the best Marvel Legends Spider-Man from comic to figure. I'm probably convinced that this might be the best Marvel Legends Spider-Man ever. Now, one of my rules in my top 10s is trying to not go off reuse or repaints, but the exception here is that he's layered up heavily with his hood, web shooters, belt, and ankle pouches, that he doesn't feel like a reused figure. All of this, for some odd reason, makes it feel like a brand new figure for me. This spot was between this and the Secret Wars Spidey, and even though the Symbiote Spider-Man is my favorite alternate Spidey costume, it was a straight up repaint from Amazing Fantasy. But this has toe joints, and that goes a long way for Spidey figures, to the point it's a necessity. It makes a major impact on posing dynamics. That's why I sided with this one more. Just an amazing, spectacular, sensational Scarlet Spider figure. This could arguably very well be the greatest Marvel Legends Spider-Man of all time. At number 3, I have the Phoenix Force Deluxe. Another one on my top female list of 2024. If you saw it, you knew she was gonna land here. The way they made this deluxe feel like a 2-pack with the Phoenix Force entity accessory being treated almost like its own figure is how it should be, being its own character. You don't get some small cheap base like the Toy Biz one. Now you get something way more kick-ass that's centerpiece material. The base is just so much fun. I love how everything connects, and I especially love how you can just use the base without the Flame Bird on it for your fire type characters like Human Torch to have him in flight, or detach the flame effects in 2 pieces to give you more play options too. This is our first true all-new female blank body with the upgraded torso. Hopefully they don't stop here with just Phoenix and Warbird and give us some more new ones for different body types. All it needs now is toe joints. Can we please get them again for the females? The head sculpts for Jean are superb too. Don't know how they'll top this with their next Phoenix figure, but it's hard to see this being beat now. At number 2, Odin the All-Father. To me, this was the MVP of the 85 years line. This is one of those rare instances where I bypass articulation, being that Odin's body type doesn't call for it. Sculpt and details is what matters most here, which should be number 1 priority for an Odin figure. To me at least, and I'm glad to see it's the most dominant feature of this figure as well. I think the mashup between the Bowen statue design and some other designs in the comics made this out to be a better figure. I don't mind mashups when it comes to characters like this, as long as it sticks true to the character. Along with the heavily intricate sculpting and detailing, this has vibrating colors to back it up with tons of play features for display and play. You get 9 accessories to play with here to showcase your favorite Odin style, a removable fabric cape, so 10 if you want to count that as an extra accessory. This blows his Bath counterpart out of the water in every way. The classic look in the blue and gold is just Odin's colors. What would have put this at number 1 for me is if this head can be swapped onto the Destroyer's body. One of the biggest fails of missed opportunities I've ever seen in the line. But everything else, this figure looks godly and immaculate. And coming in at the number 1 spot, it should be no surprise to you if you've been following me all year, it is Lady Mandarin. This one got me in all the feels because of my immeasurable love for the SheHulk character. This was number 1 in my top females legends of 2024 and takes the top spot again here for overall comics. I already gave critical acclaim to this on that list, so don't want to repeat myself, but instead take some time to express my love for the character. You guys that have been following me forever know that Lady Mandarin was one of my biggest wishes in the line. You guys know that SheHulk is my favorite ex-lady, so it was going to be hard for anything else to top her for me. That goes for any year that we get a great SheHulk figure, especially a Lady Mandarin version, which was never done before. I wanted this as bad as the classic 80s Outback version of Betsy Braddock. So one half of my wish has been fulfilled. My love for the SheHulk character is absolute and infinite. So yeah, this being my number 1 pick is extremely biased, but then again, I'm not going off of the best figures when I do my top 10s. Way too subjective. Are there other figures on this list better than this one? Sure. I can say Phoenix, SheHulk, Odin, and such are objectively better, but for me, I go by my personal favorites. I had a ton of SheHulks, Spider-Mans, Wolverines, and Phoenixes in different costumes or versions. Never did I ever have a SheHulk Lady Mandarin before. I never thought this figure was ever going to happen. I love that run so much, and technically, this is the original SheHulk design. By that, I mean if we're going off of Quanon and not Betsy Braddock. I recommend you watch my review of this if you haven't, as I know a lot of people found the whole body switching transfer to be very convoluted, so I did the best job explaining it in the simplest way possible during my storytime segment. When I paired her up with the Madripoor Black Hand Ninjas, a quick switch just flipped that turned a light bulb on in my head, because this is the one figure I have to thank for motivating me to start a Wolverine shelf. Something I always wanted to do, but I just felt like I needed to wait for the right time, the right amount of figures, and the right character that makes me pull the trigger. This was the one, as she just looks awesome with these Madripoor Hand Ninjas on my Wolverine shelf. I know no one will have this as their number 1, and that's fine by me. Like I said, I'm not out here to make yours or anyone else's list. I make my own. I have a different taste when it comes to characters of the comics. So if it's not anyone else's number 1, good. I like to be different and not have the same number 1s as others. Like last year's was Black Widow in like every top 10, but she deserved it as she was my pick too. But it made me want to pick someone different last year if I could go back and change it, but I won't. It's just more fun when we all have different number 1 picks. I know how to pose this figure and make her look awesome every single time. I love everything about this figure, from the most beautiful head sculpts I've seen on a female Legends figure. I'd say tied with SheHulk's for me, as that grinning evil head is the most Gimli accurate head sculpt to date for a SheHulk, and probably overall out of any Gimli figure design. The samurai armored parts, silver metallic armor, all the way down to the accessories, I just loved it all. I would have just loved a metallic blue paint deco on the armor to give her that reflective look in the comics. I'm never gonna get over this figure. She's a dream figure come true for me. And if you never got your dream figure yet, then I hope you get to feel what I feel with this figure. I'm overjoyed to the moon with this. Alright, now to wrap things up, this was the toughest list ever to do, as I think this was the best Marvel Legends year under the Hasbro era. Probably overall, to be honest. So my list kept changing, shuffling up and down. That's the thing with these lists. They can change on any given day. This top 10 could look different if you ask me 6 months from now or even tomorrow. To be honest, I think I had the most fun collecting Legends this year, probably more so than any other year, because it was just banger after banger non-stop. Even the worst ones were nowhere near as worse as the ones in the past. Every line has its duds, but this isn't what this video is about, and it was about my personal favorites. Giant Man was a personal favorite of mine, and he should have been somewhere on this list, but I was just plagued with issues that ruined my experience with it, so I didn't feel right to include him or any of the figures that I liked but let me down in a big way. Check out my top 10 most disappointing Marvel Legends of 2024. 2024 revitalized the line for me after going through 2023, which was the worst year in the modern day Hasbro era. So it was night and day difference comparing this year to last. I'm excited for 2025, but I need to see more upgrades in articulation, because so far, the 2025 reveals we got at the end of the year fan stream, 0 upgraded torsos. I need to see upgrades on majority of the figures, and each figure should be pinless by now in their 5th year since introducing it. So I have a few concerns, but one thing I'm not worried about is the character selections. If 2024 proved to have the most variety of characters to fill in gaps for world building and teams and other themed rosters, as well as having those household names that people want, then 2025 will help expand upon that. So with that said, I'm still very excited for what 2025 will bring. But I'm gonna skedaddle out of here, and before I go, I just want to wish everyone a happy New Year's, stay safe, and thank you for an awesome 2024 on the channel, as it was my biggest, most productive, and most profitable year since my time on YouTube. I'm beyond grateful for those who tuned in to help support this channel. Hopefully I got to get you through the ups and downs and make a difference in making your days better, being entertained on my channel. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you and love you 3000. Now I kick it back to you. Since I shared my comic list, what's on yours? What figures were you happy about seeing on my list? What are some comic figures that you wish to see in 2025? Or what Legends figures in 2025 that's already been revealed are you looking forward to? Mine is that Dragon Man and Sentinel. I can already tell those two will be my top 2 figures in my top 10 next year. Comment below, let me know, we'll chat about it. Thanks for watching another top 10 video. Please follow me on Instagram if you haven't already at xmanny87. Hit the notification bell so you always know when my latest videos are up. Again, leave a like to show your support on the channel. Share and subscribe if you're new. See you on the next video. Peace, peace.